You're probably someone who sees another person with a lot of money. Maybe they're driving a car, maybe they're eating at a nice restaurant, maybe they're on TV, and you picture yourself there. You know, you can practically feel that you're gonna have money one day, that you're gonna be rich. But how do you know for sure if you're on the right path?
So listen up. The first tip is that you hate mediocrity. When you go everywhere, you see people that are performing on an average level and you absolutely hate it. You know that you can do better. You know that they can do better. And so you say to yourself, you know what, I've got to change my environment, I've got to change the way I see myself, and I've got to change the world once I do. When you hate mediocrity, you also hate the notion that people believe that they have to hold on to their 9-to-5 jobs. You hate the fact that people have to fight through traffic, that they have to stand in long lines, that they have to do all these things in order to keep conforming to hold on to a standard that they truly don't believe in. If you truly hate mediocrity, then you are destined to be
the entrepreneur mindset. I love the story of a locksmith. Someone calls a locksmith to get their door unlocked. He shows up, he's fiddling with the lock at first. It takes him an hour to bust open, and then he finally lets the person in. They're super thankful. He says that'll be $200, they pay the bill. No problems there. Well, what happens to this locksmith as he opens more and more and more locks? He gets better at his job, and so he opens these locks faster and faster. What used to take him an hour, now he can do in 10 minutes. So he still charges the same amount though. So he shows up to people's places, he unlocks the lock in 10 minutes and he says that'll be $200. They start getting mad at him. He noticed that as his time decreased, their satisfaction seemed to decrease. They said things like, $200, I saw you open the lock, it took you 10 minutes. What they didn't understand, but what the locksmith understood, is that he's not rewarded for his time, he's rewarded for the value he provides. It's the same thing with you. If you want to be rich one day, you got to know deep down that you're not rewarded for your time. You got to ditch that hours for dollars mentality. That's how you become an employee. If you want to be rich, you have to go after the value that you provide. Mark Zuckerberg provided a ton of value by creating Facebook. Bill Gates provided a ton of value by creating Microsoft. Richard Branson has tons of companies that provide loads of value with Virgin. Nearly everybody who's rich, if you look at the scale, they're rewarded for the value they provide, not their hours for dollars.
Rich people, they are goal-oriented. They are goal-oriented. That they focus, they're very focused, they know what they want. Clarity is power. They know exactly what they want. You ask them about their plan, they know. They know what they want. So now I don't have time to go into the whole goal setting process. If you want to watch that, I've actually done an episode for Boston and Bentley. Click on the I button. I talk about how do you actually set goals and how do you accomplish them. Okay? So they're goal oriented. You see, people nobody sets out and write a plan to say they want to be stupid, they want to be broke, they want to be depressed, they want to be lazy. Nobody write a plan for that. That's what happens when you don't have a plan. By default, if you are not getting rich by default, you're making somebody else's rich. If you don't have a plan for yourself, chances are you're a plan of somebody else. You got to think about that, right? So rich people, they are absolutely goal-oriented. They're not only they have clarity about the vision, very often they can communicate that vision with the people around them, with their team, with their vendors, with their partners, with the lenders. They could communicate that. That's what I also noticed.
Is that if right now you're willing to work for nothing, if right now you're willing to invest in your ideas so that later you can benefit from it. I love the quote. It goes, entrepreneurs do the things that others won't so they can live the lives that others can't. Know that when you're investing in yourself, when you're investing in your future, it's gonna come across as crazy to other people, and that's okay. You gotta stay true to yourself. You gotta keep grinding, keep hustling, keep investing in what you know deep down is gonna get you further in the future.
sign that you were called to be rich is that you admire rich people. When someone pulls up in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or Rolls Royce or a Porsche or a Jaguar or Mercedes, you don't say, man, that guy, he's foolish, he's greedy, he's selfish. You say, you know what, I want that. I want to accomplish that. When you see a big house, you actually believe that you can live there. You don't despise the owner. You don't look at the landscaper and say, man, he's wasting his time on that lawn. You say to yourself, that's exactly what I would do if I had that kind of house. If you are called to be rich, you're not going to bash rich people. You're not going to say to yourself that it's impossible, even if you have 10 cents in your pocket. You're going to say to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I'm going to accomplish my goals. And then you're going to become motivated and start to reach that financial success without feeling guilty in the process.
I remember growing up, I was getting into drums and music in middle school. And my very first motivation for it, like a lot of guys growing up, was just to impress girls. I wanted to become the best drummer at my middle school so I could impress everyone. And I remember having a drum off with a guy trying to impress a girl and getting so crushed in that drum off. I got absolutely obliterated and destroyed. But when I actually look back on that and why I stuck at drumming and you know, I'm so fortunate I get to tour 6 months out of the year now all around the world playing sold out shows and festivals, it was because I used that rejection and it fueled me. I got motivated by it. I tapped into that pain of never wanting to feel that again, of never wanting to feel like an idiot who lost a drum off, who looked stupid. So I practiced every single day till my hands bled, and it paid off. If you want to become rich, you got to use rejection to motivate you, not get discouraged by it. Another example is Mark Zuckerberg. If you ever saw that movie, The Social Network, what drove him early on to start something was getting rejected from a girlfriend. And he made the site Hot or Not, where he would rank, he'd put 2 photos and you'd have to vote if it was hot or not, which eventually led to him being making more of these sites and getting more success, which eventually led to, you know what, Facebook. He used that rejection, for better or for worse, that kind of prove them wrong mentality. That's really powerful. So tap into that. Learn how to use rejection and get encouraged by it, not
urgency, that you are impatient. Now, if you listen to my podcast, I have a podcast called Shoulders of Titans, where I interview millionaires and billionaires on my podcast. Out of all the people that I interview, some on the show, some in person that I'm not turning a recorder, I could tell you the high achievers that I know, the millionaires, the billionaires that I know, one thing that they have in common that I notice, they are impatient. Patience is not a virtue. I believe patience is a character flaw. The high achievers, they are impatient. They want to get things done today. They don't want to wait till tomorrow. I notice they always have this sense of urgency, that they know that somehow it may be the way that they view life, that life is short. We don't have time. You got to make it happen. You cannot procrastinate. You cannot wait 5 years for this to happen. You got to make it happen. There's no excuse. If there's no way, we'll find a way. This is a wall. I'll go around it. I'll go under it. I'll break through it. I'll go over it. Whatever it takes. And that's the kind of attitude that they have. I notice they naturally have this sense of urgency. I naturally have this sense of urgency. I had this sense of urgency when I had no money. I have the same sense of urgency when I have money. So that's the second sign. So if you are impatient, if you do have that sense of urgency, you have that drive, you have that desire, you have that fire within you, that you want to get stuff done, and you hate it when people operate at a slower level, they don't operate at the same standard, that's a good sign that you become rich one day.